Text 30. Apichit stu duracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sadur eva sa mantavya samyak vya vyavasito hisa. Translation. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Purport. The word tu durachara used in this verse is very significant and we should understand it properly. When a living entity is conditioned, he has two kinds of activities. One is conditional and other is constitutional. As for protecting the body or abiding by the rules of society and state, certainly there are different activities, even for the devotees, in connection with the conditional life, and such activities are called conditional. Besides these, the living entity who is fully conscious of his spiritual nature and is engaged in Krishna consciousness or the devotional service of the Lord has activities which are called transcendental. Such activities are performed in his constitutional position and they are technically called devotional service. Now in the conditioned state, sometimes the devotional service and the conditional service in relation to the body will parallel one another. But then again, sometimes these activities become opposed to one another. As far as possible, a devotee is very cautious so that anything he does not do anything that could disrupt his wholesome condition. He knows that perfection in his activities depends on his progressive realization of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, however, it may be seen that a person in Krishna consciousness commits some act which may be taken as most abominable socially or politically. But such a temporary fall down does not disqualify him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that if a person falls down but is wholeheartedly engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord, being situated within his heart, purifies him and excuses him from that abomination. The material contamination is so strong that even a yogi fully engaged in the service of the Lord sometimes becomes ensnared. But Krishna consciousness is so strong that such an occasional fall down is at once rectified. Therefore, the process of devotional service is always a success. No one should deride a devotee for some accidental fall down from the ideal path, for, as explained in the next verse, such occasional fall downs will be stopped in due course as soon as the devotee is completely situated in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a person who is situated in Krishna consciousness and is engaged with determination in the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, should be considered to be in the transcendental position. Even if by chance or accident he is found to have fallen, the words Sadhur Eva, he is saintly, are very emphatic. They are a warning to the non devotees that because of an accidental fall down, a devotee should not be derided. He should still be considered saintly, even if he has accidentally fallen down. And the word mantavya is still more emphatic. If he does not follow this rule and deride the devotee for his accidental fall down, then one is disobeying the order of the Supreme Lord. The only qualification of a devotee is to be unflinchingly and exclusively engaged in devotional service. In the Narsimha Purana, the following statement is given. Bhagavati cha harav ananya cheta prasha malino pe virajate manushya nahi sasa kalusa chabit kadachit timira para bhavatam upaiti chandra. The meaning is that even if one fully engaged in the devotional service of the Lord is sometimes found engaged in abominable activities, these activities should be considered to be like the spots that resemble the mark of a rabbit or the moon. Such spots do not become an impediment to the diffusion of moonlight. Similarly, the accidental fall down of a devotee from the path of saintly character does not make him abominable. On the other hand, one should not misunderstand that a devotee in transcendental devotional service can act in all kinds of abominable ways. This verse only refers to an accident due to the strong power of material connections. Devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusory energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusory energy, there may be accidental fall down. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such fall downs, as previously explained. No one should take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense and think that he is still a devotee. If he does not improve in his character by devotional service, then it is to be understood that he is not a high devotee.
So what can we understand with this verse?
We can understand that a person who is engaged fully in Krishna consciousness can also fall down due to the material connection, the material world, or the conditional life. But Lord Krishna understand that because these connections are so strong, he can fall, but he is a pure devotee and he excuses this.
Yeah, and that the
Yeah.
devotee will overcome it, right? That he'll overcome.
Yes.
But now what happens? How can one misuse this statement by Krishna?
Only a non-devotee can use this as an excuse.
Sometimes one who is practicing devotee may use it as an excuse. Practicing, one who is you know, like that is committing offense on the strength of the holy name. One may say,
Yeah.
okay, well, I can engage in sinful activities and I'll chant Hare Krishna, so it will be nullified. So then that is an offense. That is committing strength on chanting of the holy name. That's the seventh offense to the Lord. So the idea is one cannot intentionally do this. These are for accidental fall downs. Accident, as you said this is material world, so it's true. Material energy is very strong. So sometime accident, some devotee may have some kind of fall down, but Krishna is saying you shouldn't condemn him and he'll be rightly situated. But we cannot use this as an excuse and repeatedly engage in sinful activity and say, oh, okay. So that's the idea. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and of course we shouldn't, as Prabhupada says, deride a devotee for his accidental fall down. We shouldn't find fault with a devotee who's accidentally, you know, committed some action which he shouldn't have. He will be rightly situated. Okay, let's go on then.
Okay, text 31. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat chantim nigachati kauntaya prati janihi name bhaktah pranashyati. Translation. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Purport. This should not be misunderstood. In the 7th chapter, the Lord says that one who is engaged in mischievous activities cannot become a devotee of the Lord. One who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualification whatsoever. The question remains then, how can a person engaged in abominable activities either by accident or by intention be a pure devotee? This question may justly be raised. The miscreants, as stated in the 7th chapter, who never come to the devotional service of Lord, have no good qualifications, as is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Generally, a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. Continuous thinking of the Supreme Lord makes him pure by nature. According to the Vedas, there is a certain regulation that if one falls down from his exalted position, he has to undergo certain ritualistic processes to purify himself. But here there is no such condition, because the purifying process is already there in the heart of the devotee, due to his remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare should be continued without stoppage. This will protect a devotee from all accidental fall downs. He will thus remain perpetually free from all material contaminations.
What does Krishna go on to say? I'm sorry, I can't hear if you're speaking.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Lord is saying that if someone is engaged in any kind of activities, mischievous activities, then he cannot be a devotee. But if somebody, a devotee, who accidentally falls down, then taking by chanting, he can again become purified instead of going through all those ritualistic processes mentioned in the Vedas.
Yeah, that's right. And in Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj was asking Sukadev Goswami, what's going to happen to all the sinful people?
Mm.
So then then Sukadev Goswami starts by saying, oh, one has to do prayaschit, like prayaschit, atonement. Then Parikshit
Mm.
Maharaj said, yeah, but atonement, if one does, atonement may be like doing some rituals for atonement, some kind of penances, austerity, some kind of, bathing in the holy rivers or going to the pilgrimages, giving charity, all the. So Sukadev Goswami says one has to do atonement, prayaschat. But then Parikshit Maharaj says, but yeah, if one does prayaschat, that is like a bathing of an elephant in the river. Because elephant goes in the river and he bathes. But as soon as he comes out, he again dusts himself with dust. He again throws dust all over himself. So then it's as good as not bathing only. So in the sense what Parikshit Maharaj is saying is that one does this prayaschat. So yeah, the sinful reactions is gone away. But the desire to sin does not go away. So that's why it's like bathing of the elephant in the river. And then that's why he asked that one may go to do this prayaschit, but again, one may again start continue engaging in sinful activity. And Sukadev Goswami tells him, yeah, you're right. Sukadev Goswami was also like testing his disciple to see. And so Parikshit Maharaj passed that test because he says, no, that's not a solution. And then Sukadev Goswami speaks the glories of devotional service. Because when one engages in devotional service, when one engages in chanting Hare Krishna, the desire to sin goes away. The sinful reactions which are there in the form of seeds, beach, they also go away. And that's how Krishna is saying, O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. He quickly becomes righteous because the more one engages in devotional service, the heart gets cleaned of all the wrongful desires. Is that okay?
Yes.
Then one may say, Krishna is saying here, O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. But then we are seeing so many devotees are dying, they get so sick sometimes, they get sometimes so very terrible diseases. So how can we understand that?
That's due to our past karmas.
But here Krishna is saying that my devotee never perishes. So how do we understand Krishna's statement?
I don't know.
Well, Krishna is protecting the soul. He's protecting the faith of the devotee. He's protecting the devotional service of the devotee. And that never perishes. The body is going to die, We have taken up a material body. This body we have to give it up. It will be subjected to birth, death, old age, and disease. But devotee doesn't perish. He's going to give up this body and eternally go and live with Krishna in the spiritual world. And Krishna is protecting the devotional service of the devotee. He's protecting the faith of the devotee. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's go on then.
Text 32. Mam hi partha vyapashritya yesi yepi sivu papa yonaya kriyo vaishya tata sudra te piyanti param gatim. Translation. O son of Pratha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, vaishyas, merchants, and Shudras, workers, can attain the supreme destination. Purpose. It is clearly declared here by the Supreme Lord that in devotional service there is no distinction between the lower and higher classes of people. In the material conception of life, there are such divisions, but for a person engaged in transcendental devotional service to the Lord, there are not. Everyone is eligible for the supreme destination. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.18, it is stated that even the lowest, who are called Chandalas, dog eaters, can be purified by association with a pure devotee. Therefore, devotional service and the guidance of a pure devotee are so strong that there is no discrimination between the lower and higher classes of men. Anyone can take to it. The most simple man, taking shelter of the pure devotee, can be purified by proper guidance. According to different modes of material nature, men are classified in the mode of goodness, Brahmanas, the mode of passion, Kshatriyas or administrators, the mixed modes of passion and ignorance, Vaishyas or merchants, and the mode of ignorance, Shudras or workers. Those lower than them are called Chandalas and they are born in sinful families. Generally, the association of those born in sinful families is not accepted by the higher classes. But the process of devotional service is so strong that the pure devotee of the Supreme Lord can enable people of the lower classes to attain the highest perfection of life. This is possible only when one takes shelter of Krishna, as indicated here by the word Vyapash, Vyapashitya, Shritya, Shritya. One has to take shelter completely of Krishna. Then one can become much greater than great Jnanis, Gyanis, and Yogis.
So, what is Krishna saying?
That's saying that any class of people, like any of them, Vaishyas or the Shudras, anybody can come in the devotional service. There's no distinction between any of the classes.
Yeah, anyone and everyone can take up devotional service. Doesn't matter which section of society they belong to. Why is that? Or how is that?
Because there's no discrimination, and
So how do we understand that there is no discrimination?
because anybody who takes any devotee who takes shelter, any man taking shelter under a pure devotee can be purified.
Yeah, everyone can be purified. We are all spirit souls, parts and parcels of Krishna. The divisions that are there, they are material. They're based on the body. But we are spirit souls. Each and every one of us is part and parcel of Krishna. And so each and every one of us is, in fact, encouraged that we should take up devotional service, revive our love of Krishna. And anyone taking up devotional service, as you said, can be purified. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Text 33. Kim punar brahmanah punya bhaktaraj rasyasthatha anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajaswamam. Translation. How much more this is so of the righteous brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings, therefore having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. Purport. In this material world, there are classifications of people, but after all, this world is not a happy place for anyone. It is clearly stated here, Anityam Asukham Lokam. This world is temporary and full of miseries, not habitable for any sane gentleman. This world is declared by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be temporary and full of miseries. Some philosophers, especially Mayavadi philosophers, say that this world is false. But we can understand from Bhagavad Gita that the world is not false, it is temporary. There is a difference between temporary and false. This world is temporary, but there is another world which is eternal. This world is miserable, but the other world is eternal and blissful. Arjuna was born in a saintly royal family. To him also the Lord says, take to my devotional service and come quickly back to Godhead, back home. No one should remain in this temporary world, full as it is with miseries. Everyone should attach himself to the bosom of the Supreme Personality of Godhead so that he can be eternally happy. The devotional service of the Supreme Lord is the only process by which all problems of all classes of men can be solved. Everyone should therefore take to Krishna consciousness and make his life perfect.
So, what is Krishna saying? What is his instruction here?
He said, just come to me.
Yeah. He's telling us get out of this material world. How?
By devotional service.
Yeah. And what are some qualities he's mentioning of this material world?
Temporary and miserable.
Yeah. Temporary and miserable. And then we keep hearing people say, "Oh no, I'm enjoying so much. There's so much enjoyment. Um, how can you say it's suffering? There's no suffering. It's only enjoyment." Sure, suffering is there a little bit, but there's so much more enjoyment. And how can we understand that?
Because that's also temporary. How longer it lasts, we have no idea.
Yeah, it's true.
Mm.
And what reactions we are gonna get for that also we have no idea.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. And sometimes what happens, like the camel, he chews on the thorns, and he's chewing the thorns, and the thorn pricks his tongue, and so the thorn gets mixed with his blood, and then he says, so nice, so yummy, not understanding that it's his own blood that he's drinking.
Mm.
It's causing his own suffering. So we sometimes don't even understand how much suffering we actually going through to get that little enjoyment. Mm. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. So shall we stop here? Oh, this is the last one. How long is this? This is a longer one. We'll read this tomorrow. This is the essence here of the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
Continue
We'll
it
continue
tomorrow.
with it.
Tomorrow?
Or
We'll read it tomorrow. It
Okay.
might take a
Yeah.
little longer. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.